probably heard the saying that politics is downstream from culture. It's the idea that the source of all that is politically possible starts in the cultural realm of our society. Movies, books, television shows popularize ideas and eventually go down into what is politically attainable policy goals. Today I want to look at a phenomenon that emphasizes just how strange the times we are in, and it is the equivalent of the river flowing in reverse and back up to its source at the top of the mountain. Now, like most things, I think this is too simple of a model, and so I've created my own. You might have seen me use this before. It's my heavy rain political garden. And so to just run through it very briefly, you have the lower half, which is the cultural half, and the upper half, which is the political half. The cultural left has shallow but broad and diverse root system that feeds the policies that can be enacted by the political left. The cultural right has deep but narrower roots that feed the plant of the political right. But we're going to talk about something very strange. We've seen a lot of inversions here. We've seen the inversion, say, of good and bad. We've seen the inversion of truth and falsehood. We've seen the inversion of peaceful and violent. What we are seeing now is an even more fundamental inversion, and it's the inversion of culture and politics, specifically in the realm of humor. And the interesting thing about humor is it's one of those just instantaneous reactions. You don't stop when someone tells you a joke and say, "Is that funny? Should I laugh?" You either laugh or you don't. It is a pure reflex. And the inversion I'm talking about here is we are at a point where politicians are now actually funnier than comedians. It's as if the plants and the roots flipped and switched position, and the roots are now sticking up in the air, and the plants are feeding the culture. It's very interesting, and I think it just highlights this is what happens when you deviate so far from truth, because the thing with humor is it's truth. Like, one of the things when people are laughing at a joke, they'll say is, "Oh man, he's so funny, it's too real, too real." Humorists often clarify through amplification. They expose the absurdity of a situation by kind of blowing it up into its most ridiculous form. And people laugh because they're like, "I see it. That's hilarious that we do that or believe that or act that way." The problem is, because the cultural left has so commandeered humor as a vehicle to feed their politics, they've lost that sense of humor because they are not revealing truth anymore. They're simply covering and bulwarking a political narrative. And that's not funny. It's one of the reasons the left can't meme, because they've lost the ability to be funny because there's no truth left in it. And they are dead set on pushing any of these narratives. And so it loses its humor, it loses its joy, and it's going to cause the starvation of the political plant because it's a withering of the root system. You can't deviate this far from truth and still hope to govern. So let's look at a real specific example here. Bulwarking a narrative versus someone where the politician is now funnier than the comedian. And I want to use the example of John Oliver. So John Oliver, and bulwarking his nonsense political narrative here, focused on this small town in Danbury, Connecticut. And the reason why is there were what he considered racial disparities in jury selection, and reports that minority residents of the Connecticut cities of Hartford and New Britain were excluded from selection. Now, the fact that it's a small suburban area and John is probably cherry-picking his evidence is irrelevant. He goes on this rant. If you're going to forget a town in Connecticut, why not Danbury? Because, and this is true, F. Danbury. From its charming railway museum to its historic Hearthstone Castle, Danbury, Connecticut can eat my whole backside. Huh. I thought Jews were supposed to be funny. I know exactly 3 things about Danbury, he said. USA Today ranked it the second best city to live in 2015. It was once the center of the American hat industry, and if you're from there, you have the standing invite to come get a thrashing from John Oliver, children included, F.U. You know, I don't know about you, but if I lived in Danbury, I'd kind of want to take him up on that offer, and I don't know, there might be a fair number of the children that could take you too, John. You offering to fight anyone in the town may not be the smartest move. So, here's where we see the politicians actually being funnier than the comedian. Danbury Mayor Mark Boughton is former contender for statewide office and a known political entity in his corner of the state. He released a video responding to Oliver that quickly went viral in the local press.
Hi, I'm Mayor Mark Boughton of the city of Danbury, Connecticut. You know, last week, John Oliver had us on a show, and he pointed out 3 important points of interest of Danbury. 1 was our wonderful railway museum, and we agree with that. 2 was our great castle, and we certainly agree with that. And then 3 was that we were once ranked as the number 2 city in the United States of America. And of course, we agree with that. But today, I'm proud to announce our 4th point of interest. Behind me, you'll see the City of Danbury sewer plant. And we are going to rename it the John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. Why? Because it's full of just like you, John. And oh, by the way, thanks for showing that Amazon video. We did get Amazon here in Danbury.
And so later it came out, Boughton said he was just joking around, he was kidding, and that it was just returning the volley to John Oliver. Now, the left does this weird thing. You remember the pink pussy hats and the nasty woman shirts? They think that owning something is the same as agreeing and amplifying to show absurdity. And so they don't really get this social dynamic. The point of agreeing with something and amplifying it is to reveal the truth of an absurdity. But see, like when you call Hillary Clinton a nasty woman, she is a nasty woman. Yeah, you actually don't want to own that. And then you got a bunch of nasty women wearing nasty women shirt. It's bad advertising. And John Oliver, showing he's as tone deaf as every leftist seems to be right now, said he was disappointed that Boughton backed out and went on another anti-Danbury rant. He says, "Wait, so you're not doing it? F you, Danbury. You had the first good idea in your city's history and you chickened out on the follow-through. What a classic Danbury move. Listen, I didn't know that I wanted my name on your S factory, but now that you floated it as an option, it is all I want." That's pretty weird, John. That's not cool. That's not showing that you're tough. That's strange. But Oliver offered to donate $55,000 to local charities if the city commits to naming its sewage plant after him. Again, that's very strange, but is a pretty common symptom of this social autism that seems to have afflicted the left. It's one of the reasons the right and the political candidates are funnier than the comedians. And this Boughton, proving that he is very socially adroit, agreed actually to rename the facility after Oliver in a Facebook video, but on one condition. John has to come there to Danbury and be physically present when we cut the ribbon.
Hi, I'm Mayor Mark Boughton from the city of Danbury, Connecticut. You know, Danbury has a lot of incredible assets. We're one of the safest cities in Connecticut. We're a great place to do business. One of the most diverse cities in the United States of America. But we also have this wonderful, beautiful $110 million sewer plant. John Oliver, we thought about it. And we're going to take you up on your offer. Nice. $55,000 if we name this plant after you. However, we do have one very specific condition. You must come here to Danbury and be physically present when we cut the ribbon. And I got to tell you, $55,000, it's a little light for somebody in the 1%, but a deal is a deal. Now look, don't Oliver this up. Should you choose not to take us up on this offer, well, I got to tell you, I'm already talking to the 2 Jimmys in Tanoa. If you decide not to come up here, we certainly have something we've named after you. Your own personal porta potty, the John Oliver House. So, Mr. Oliver, come on up to Danbury and sit on your throne.
So you can see this guy is definitely game, and as this whole thing has gone on, John is dancing to the politician's tune. He can't even keep up with him. Look how many little shivs he managed to stick into a 1 minute long clip. It was very well done. And of course here, I think a lot of the more local level politicians and politics are taking the lead from Donald Trump, who is practically a professional comedian. And the left hates him because they can't get the better of him. He used this agree and amplify technique to perfection in the debates where Megyn Kelly seemingly cornered him and said, "You've called women A, B, and C," and he agreed and amplified. Yes, but only Rosie O'Donnell. And everyone went nuts and laughed because he amplified to show the absurdity of the trap that Megyn Kelly had set and laid it bare for everyone to understand. It's revealing that truth, clarifying through amplifying. The media likes to say, oh, he lies, he lies, he lies. And it's like, no, it's not lying. It's hyperbolic. He uses hyperbole. It's amplification. It's a technique. It's a very well-worn technique. And it's perfectly obvious to those that understand what he's doing. To those that are socially autistic, it just looks crazy. They just think, oh, it must be a lie because I don't understand it. And to show you how expertly Donald Trump can reveal truth, I want to show you this campaign video that Donald Trump put out called The Bidening. And it's meant to be like a horror film preview. And this is so high level, I don't think there's a comedian in the country that can compete with this. And it just shows you the times we live in. Politicians are funnier than comedians. And it's just one of these many symptoms of the inversion of truth and falsehood.
You're a lion dog faced pony soldier. My memory is not as good as. Am I doing this again?
Please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his test and makes your mistake an issue for voters?
The American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.